Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I hope all of you are fine. First of all, I welcome you all on this online teaching system of pharmacology. I am Professor Dr. Mariam Rashid, and I wish you all the best for your online teaching system for your academic session 2021. And I pray for all of you and your family members that you are safe and healthy in this COVID situation, and soon the situation ends so that we can resume the live teaching session, which is the best one for all of us. And till then, we have to continue this way. We'll be having your tutorial sessions as well, which are more of interactive and vivas on WhatsApp and Zoom session as well. And we are readily available for all of you 24/7. If you have any problem in understanding any concept of pharmacology, we are there to help you. So with that, let's move on to today's lecture. So regarding the learning objectives of today's lecture, at the end of this lecture, you all should be able to define what is absorption. You should be able to enlist various drug-related and patient-related factors which affect the absorption of drugs. Let's have a quick recap what we have done in the previous lectures. We have discussed about the various parameters of pharmacokinetics, which you all know. The pharmacokinetic is divided into absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion. And in today's lecture, we'll be discussing about absorption, and absorption will be covered in two parts. And in this lecture, we'll be discussing about the various factors which can affect absorption. In the next lecture, we'll be discussing each and every factor in detail. So let's have a quick recap on what we have done in the previous lectures. We have discussed about pharmacokinetics. We know what is first pass effect of the pre-systemic metabolism. How do we define bioavailability and various modes of the drug transport. These topics have been covered in your last week's lectures, and this is very important to understand these topics because this is the basis of general pharmacology. And then if you know general pharmacology, then of course you would be able to have a better concept of systemic pharmacology. So you all know whenever a drug is taken through oral route, what happens, it has to go the first pass effect, which is the pre-systemic metabolism, which occurs mostly in the liver. It can also occur at other sites like GIT and the skin. But if a drug is given through intravenous route, it goes directly into the systemic circulation and its bioavailability is 100%. So this F is the symbol of bioavailability, right? So you all should know firstly, how do you define bioavailability, which is a very important question. You have been given the handouts of general pharmacology definitions. You should revise it again and again, reinforce the concepts of these general pharmacology, and we will take your viva and tutorial as well, because if you know these definitions, then you will be able to understand whole of the systemic pharmacology as well. So how do we define bioavailability? It is the fraction of the drug which reaches the systemic circulation in chemically unchanged form when given through any route. So given through any route, whether it is oral or whether it is intravenous. So oral route of course is going to have a less bioavailability because it has to undergo first pass effect, whereas the drugs given through intravenous route, they reaches the systemic circulation directly and making the highest bioavailability. All right. So this is the transit of the drug when taken through oral route to the stomach and intestine and the portal circulation into the liver, and then it reaches the systemic circulation. So there are various factors which affect the absorption of a drug. We'll be listing those factors in the upcoming slides, but just have a quick outline of the various factors. Whenever the drug is taken, when it reaches from the oral route into the stomach, there are many factors which can affect the absorption of a drug. For example, the pH of the absorbing surface, the food material which you have taken, or any other drug which you are taking along with the drug. So there are likely chances of the drug can have a drug-drug interaction as well. Some food components, they slow the absorption, and some food components can enhance the absorption. Let us have an example of a drug, that is tetracycline. This is an antibiotic, and it is mentioned that you should not take this drug along with the dairy products. In dairy product, it comes like milk containing products like cheese, egg, milk, right? So why it is contraindicated to not to take this drug with dairy products? Because it forms divalent cations with this calcium and magnesium, and it becomes deposited in the bones and teeth of the children especially, and it is contraindicated in children. Contraindication means not to be given a big cross. All right, indication mean use in that condition, contraindication not to be given in this condition. So tetracyclines, which are antibiotics, should not be taken with the dairy products. All right, because they form insoluble complexes with the divalent cations like calcium, magnesium, and they get deposited in bones and teeth. So it's a worrisome problem in the young children, especially below the years of 12 years of age, because they have the growing bones and teeth. In this diagram, you can well appreciate that once the blood reaches from the stomach into the intestine, so the factors which can affect the absorption is the surface area, the blood flow, and the most important factor is the lipid solubility. Students, note down the important points. The lipid solubility is the most important factor which affect the absorption. The more the drug is lipid soluble, the more is going to be the absorption of a drug. Greater the surface area, greater is going to be the absorption. Greater the blood flow, greater is going to be the absorption. So all these factors have a direct relationship, but exposure time, that is the time during which the drug has to pass through the intestine. If the intestinal motility is increased, then what is going to happen? The exposure time of the drug in the intestine is going to be less, so the absorption is going to be decreased. Whereas if the peristalsis is decreased, for example in constipation, then the exposure time is going to be increased. So you have to remember this thing. In diarrhea, there is going to be decreased absorption, and in constipation, there is going to be increased absorption. So there are certain drugs like opioids, they can increase the stay of the drug in the intestine because they cause constipation, hence leading to more absorption. Whereas in diarrhea, for example, drug metoclopramide, it increases the intestinal motility. That is why the drug is going to be eliminated quickly from the body, and hence the absorption is going to be decreased. So these are the certain factors which have a direct and indirect relation with the absorption of a drug. But what is the most important factor? Lipid solubility. The lipid soluble drugs are also called as more non-ionized. They are uncharged, right? So whenever the drug has a charge on it, it becomes water soluble or polar, and its absorption is going to be decreased. So majority of the drugs, 90% of the drugs are either weak acids or weak bases. So remember one thing, for absorption of a weak acid, it is more absorbed in acidic pH, whereas a weak base is more absorbed in the alkaline pH. All right. So, but in the opposite pH, the drug, they get ionized and the absorption decreases. For example, if we have a drug like aspirin, it's a weak acid, and when it's in the stomach, and the stomach has also got a acidic pH, so the absorption of that drug is going to be increased in the same pH. Whereas if the acidic drug is presented to the alkaline pH, then this drug gets ionized, and then the absorption is going to be decreased, because I told you that ionized form of a drug is charged, it is polar, it is water soluble, and it is not absorbed, it is more excretable. So for a drug to be excreted from the body, you need to make it water soluble. But if you need to get the drug more absorbed, you have to make the drug lipid soluble. All right. So another factor which is very important is transporter, for example, P-glycoproteins. They can also have a drug interaction. P-glycoproteins are basically efflux protein which pump the drug out of the organ. All right. So instead of absorption, the absorption would be decreased. So first pass effect. It is also called pre-systemic metabolism or pre-systemic effect. That is basically before reaching the systemic circulation, the drug undergoes the metabolism in the liver majorly. So to avoid this first pass effect, if you need to give a drug in emergency and that drug is not available in injection form, then you need to give the drug in sublingual route. Sublingual route means under the tongue. It is also called the buccal route. And the most common example of sublingual route is the drug given for angina. You know, when there is a heart pain, the patient has a reduced oxygen supply to the heart, then there is pain in the heart, which is called angina. All right, so for that you give a tablet and the patient is asked to keep the tablet under the tongue. So the common example is that of the sublingual uh, triglycerol nitrate, that is also called, trade name is Engicid. Trade name means the name with which the drug is available. Like we ask, give me Panadol. All right. So Panadol is the trade name by which it is sold in the market through the pharmaceutical company, but the active compound or the ingredient of the drug, it is called generic name. So in Panadol, the active drug is paracetamol or acetaminophen. All right. So similarly, the drug given through the buccal route is triglycerol nitrate, but it is available in the trade name of Engicid. So we give in the patients of angina, we give the drug through sublingual or the buccal route so that it avoids the first pass effect and it reaches directly into the systemic circulation. So you have covered the routes of drug administration in detail. So this is the advantage of buccal route, that the drug avoids the first pass effect. It can be given in emergency. And what is the drawback of the sublingual or buccal route? Of course, the drug is going to have if a drug is having a bitter taste, it is going to cause a discomfort to the patient. So this is example of furosemide, which is a diuretic. Its bioavailability is 50% if it is given through oral route. Why? Because it undergoes the first pass effect. But if you need to give the drug for emergency cases, for pulmonary edema treatment, so give it intravenously. So let us classify the factors affecting the absorption of drugs. There are drug-related factors and patient-related factors. In the drug-related factors, the main factors are the physiochemical properties of a drug. Lipid solubility. I just told you, very important factor. Rather, we can say the first factor, which is the prerequisite for absorption, is lipid solubility. All right. Then degree of ionization. If a drug is ionized, it is charged, the absorption is going to be decreased. And in this, we'll be discussing about Henderson-Hasselbalch equation, which is very important and repeatedly asked in the exam as well. Then the concentration of the drug, physical state, molecular size, dosage form, particle size. We'll be all discussing all of these one by one. And disintegration time, the rate of the breakup of a drug, and dissolution rate, the rate at which the drug undergoes into solution, and the formulation as well. These are the drug-related factors. We'll be discussing two factors in detail, that is the lipid solubility and degree of ionization. And the rest of them will be covered along with them. The patient-related factors. There are various factors which affect the absorption. The most important one is route of drug administration. As already discussed, the routes of drug administration, oral route has a lesser rate of absorption as compared to the parenteral route because it goes directly into the systemic circulation. Similarly, the pH of absorbing surface, if the acidic drug is more absorbed in the acidic pH. Similarly, basic drug is more absorbed in the alkaline pH. If we talk about the surface area of absorption, as I showed you earlier in the diagram, that more the surface area, more is going to be the absorption. It has got a direct relationship, whereas it shares an inverse relationship with the thickness of the diffusing path. Vascularity of absorbing surface has also a direct relationship with the factors affecting the absorption of a drug. Now, if we talk about absorption from the GIT, there are many factors which affect the absorption. For example, the presence of food, presence of other drugs, which may compete with each other or may induce or inhibit the metabolism of other drugs. GIT motility, as I told you, diarrhea or constipation can affect the absorption of drug. Metabolism, some drugs are cytochrome P450 enzyme inducers, whereas some are inhibitors, so they can also affect the absorption from the GIT. And if the gut is diseased, for example, there is ulceration or any inflammatory process going on in the stomach or in the colon or in the small intestine, of course, then the absorption of the drug would also be affected. P glycoproteins also play a very major role in the absorption of the drugs. As I told you earlier, that these are the efflux proteins. Thank you very much for being with me. With this, we end today's part 1 of the absorption. In tomorrow's lecture, we'll be discussing in detail about the ionization of the drug and also the pH on the lipid solubility, how these affect the absorption. We'll discuss about the Henderson-Hasselbalch equation and few clinical scenarios related to absorption of drug. Assignment for today's attendance is how gastric emptying affects the rate of absorption of a drug, and what is the role of P-glycoproteins in absorption of drugs. Kindly consult your textbooks, Mini Kaizen, and you can also consult the Lippincott for the answers and submit it in your WhatsApp groups. And all the best for your assignment, and see you next time with the part 2 of absorption. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.